Hey, welcome into the Stinkin Truth podcast alongside Mike Evans. I am Mark Schlereth. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you subscribe. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the draft. I don't know if I'm excited for the draft to get here, or I just wanted to get here because I'm tired of all the buildup. Let me ask you, because your answer will probably influence a lot of people listening right now. How much do you pay attention to these pre-draft rumors? This team's looking to trade. This team's looking to move up. This guy's rising. This guy's dropping. You know, all the stuff that goes up and ratchets up in the last couple of days before the draft. How much of it do you really pay attention to?
I think I listen to it, but I take it with kind of a grain of salt, and I don't even know where that idiom or where that saying comes from. But I don't know the etymology of grain of salt, but maybe you look that up. I listen to it. There's always smoke, but there's always lies that go on this time of year. You know, there's always misinformation that happens. There's always people trying to maneuver and trying to sell you a bill of goods that don't necessarily exist because they want to do something else. So it is that kind of parsing out those rumors, parsing out that information. How much of it does it make sense? Does it not make sense? You know, I mean, I think the Broncos last year did a really good job, even though a lot of people like Joel Klatt from Fox and several others had them linked to Bo Nix. They did a really good job of making you think it was anybody but Bo Nix, which probably is where you should have gone. But, yeah, there's always that misinformation. So I pay attention to it. The other thing I look at, Mike, is like I just go back to my own career and understanding how many guys that got drafted in the first round weren't worth a score to piss. And I can go through, you know, throughout my entire 12-year career and watch so many guys. Some were really, really good, and some guys were just like, ugh, how did you guys get duped by that? Like, how did you even go down that road? And of course, you know, as a player, you're not watching college football film, right? You're not watching it, but right. You walk into the first mini camp and you're like, dude, we spent a first rounder on that guy. That guy can't play. Like, what are we doing? And I've seen that happen so many times over the course of my 12-year career. I bet you 50% of the guys that got drafted, my initial thought with those guys was, that dude he can't play at this level. He can't play in this league. So just really interesting to see how the whole draft kind of process plays out.
Well, we do have plenty of NFL topics to get to as we get closer to the draft, and later in the week we'll gather again and we'll really get dialed in as much as we can on this draft. But some NFL stuff. Chris Sims, son of Phil Sims, had this to say about Brock Purdy. And I know you've done a lot of San Francisco games, so I'm very curious to get your reaction to this. He said, quote, "In the league, nobody looks at Brock Purdy as a top 10 quarterback in football. Nobody. Yeah, with Shanahan as his OC and the 49er all-star team around him the last few years, yeah, he can look pretty good. He can look top 10-ish. But we just saw last year when the 49er all-star team got injured, they went 6-11, and we're talking about paying him over $50 million a year."
Yeah, it depends on what you're looking at. And, you know, I get this way with the draft all the time. Like, I get this way when we start talking about physical skills. We start talking about a guy's ability to run, or the guy's ability to have like big time arm talent, or his like Brock Purdy from the neck up when it comes to processing information and getting the ball out of his hand is top 10. Like, was Joe Montana physically a top 10 guy? Like, so he can say whatever he wants, and he's entitled to his opinion. He played quarterback. I didn't. But I played with some guys that were really, really pretty damn good and won championships. And so, like, again, the all-star team around him, everybody on that team was hurt. Did he really have an all-star team around him? I mean, they had Deebo Samuel was pissed off from the word go. Ayuk missed all of training camp and then got injured when he got when he got out there to play. He had, McCaffrey was hurt the entirety of the season. That, your left tackle, Trent Williams, was injured and missed a lot of time. Was that really an all-star team that he had around him? But
the implication is that he needs an all-star team around him to be elite, whereas there are other quarterbacks who don't need to have that all-star team around him. I mean, look at what Josh Allen did. Okay, let's talk about the MVP, right?
Okay.
I mean, Josh Allen did not have an all-star team around him offensively, other than James Cook, right?
Well, they had a big time running game. They've got a big time offensive line. They got a couple tight ends that can play.
But come on, if you're comparing the Bills supporting cast,
and they played in a division that has the New England Patriots, that has the the Jets, and the Miami Dolphins, who can't beat the Bills. So, I think San Francisco plays in a much tougher division with better teams and better coaches. And ultimately, we're going to find out. But I don't begrudge a guy for trying to get the market. And the market's what, 50 some odd million? Are you telling me, I don't know, you telling me that Dak Prescott is a top 10 guy at 60 whatever million? You're telling me that Jalen Hurts got a top 10 skill set? Does I don't know, who else is it? That Justin Herbert? Justin Herbert got a top 10 skill set? We're paying all them. Does Justin Herbert ever won a playoff game? We're paying those guys.
And I'll ask this question with the idea of actually coming to Brock Purdy's defense. What is Joe Burrow's just leap off the chart in skill? What is it? What's the defining characteristic of Joe Burrow that makes him an elite quarterback that everybody seems to agree that he is? So what is it?
Yeah, it's not arm talent, right?
Nope.
It doesn't jump off. It's timing, anticipation, understanding what a defense is doing and taking advantage of it, right?
Is that Brock Purdy at his best?
100%.
Okay.
100%. By the way, did you hear the general manager, Tobin, of the Cincinnati Bengals? Did you hear what he said yesterday? Just on a side note, you probably haven't. You probably don't have this on your yellow notepad.
I don't. No, because Joe didn't tell me.
He said.
That went right over your head.
What did Joe?
Who's the guy that was you were told by Bengal fans you needed to talk to?
Oh yeah. Right. So
never mind. Just keep going.
I think the guy's name is Tobin, the general manager. Yeah. He said basically that that they are building a team. He's saying defenses. It's not that it's not important, but we're going to build a team that can outscore everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, how'd that work for you? You went 9-8, outscoring people. That in there were 9 games, I believe, 9 games that you scored 27 plus points in. Do you know what your record was? 4-5 in those 9 games. The bottom line is, this is why you're wasting Joe Burrow's career in Cincinnati. Why Joe Burrow is not going to win a championship the way you've currently constructed your football team. You have in Cincinnati, you have no clue what is required to win championships. And I don't know how you would, because you've never won one, but you have no clue what it's going to take, the way you need to build your football team to win an actual championship. But, let's forget about defense. We don't need to do that. Let's just continue to pour weapons around Joe Burrow, and let's not protect him. We don't need that. It's just his stupidity. And I know what people are going to say. Well, they've got the draft. They're going to do it in the draft. No, you won't. You won't. It's ridiculous.
Maybe it's a case of
I'm tired.
Maybe it's not a case of the Bengals not knowing, but it's more that they're just giving Joe Burrow what he wants. Joe was very vocal in coming out and saying that he wanted both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to get paid. And when they were both paid, he was front and center saying this was awesome.
Yeah.
So is this more a case of the Bengals just, listening to
well,
their
do you want your guys to get paid?
ticket.
Do you want your guys to get paid because you like your guys? You want your guys to get paid because you want everybody to get paid, make money, or like do you want your guys to get paid because you know that the Bengals aren't going to actually pay other guys? Like how you're going to build your football team? Again, you know what? I am one of those guys that will sit there and say, I understand how a lot of things are played in the NFL, and I get this all the time from folks in general. Like, well, the game is passing you got by. It's not your old school. This, that, and the other. And like, oh, okay. I do nothing but study film 24/7, and I go talk to head coaches every week and quarterbacks every week and this, that, and the other. Play callers every week, both offensively and defensively. Yeah, but I don't know what's going on. But in your basement, what's happening. It's foolishness. But again, I'm a big believer in taking your quarterback off the high dive and giving your team some breather plays, giving your team an opportunity to just get under center and say, hey, man, this play, we're going on an 18 handoff force, and it's good against everything. I don't care if they're in an over front, an under front, an even front, a 3-4 front. This play is good against everything, and here we go. Like, in Cincinnati, you don't do that. You put it all on Joe Burrow's plate, and you say, hey, Joe, go win this for us.
Yeah, but you put it all on Joe Burrow's plate if you're giving Joe what he wants. Sounds like you're telling us all that they should have not listened to Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
or said,
100%.
Okay, Joe, thanks for the advice, but we're going to go do this instead.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, Joe, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run the team. You play quarterback. We'll be all right. Hey, I'll listen to you. Yeah, you want all these? Okay, yeah. But do you like having to put up 40 points a game and still lose? You like that? Because I think we should address some of the defensive issues. How about Joe, you know what, lobbying for your guys? And I appreciate you lobbying for your guys. You got to lobby for your guys. And, he was on Breakfast Ball, the show that I do here. And he said in New York, and he said, hey, man, I would redo my contract. And hey, listen, it's not your job to manage the Bengals cap. I get that. But the bottom line is, I just don't think they're built correctly. That's all. We can argue it. We can have that conversation, but I would prefer taking my quarterback off the high dive. I would prefer that my quarterback doesn't have to do everything all the time. I would prefer that I can win a game defensively. I would prefer those things to happen occasionally, but it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to watch you lose games 36-38. That's fun. It's a lot of fun, but ultimately, I just don't think that's the way you're going to win a champ. Again, if it's about scoring a lot of points, you're on the right track. If it's about winning a championship, which like my whole career, everywhere I played, our coaching staff and our ownership and all that, we talked about winning, what it's going to take to win a championship, not what it's going to take to score a lot of points. That was never the thing we talked about.
Explain the dance that's going on right now between Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. You got the Steelers saying, hey, we're still interested in Aaron, but we're doing this and this. And then Aaron comes out and says, yeah, football still is important to me, but it's not that important. I've got a life. I have a relationship. I got other interests. I want to play football, but I don't necessarily need to play football. What's going on? Because it seems like Steelers Aaron Rodgers is inevitable. And yet there's this game of chicken that seems to be going on between the two of them. What gives?
Yeah. It does seem like it's the only logical place that he fits. But there does seem to be this, I don't know, this desire or this like curiosity, this what if curiosity for Aaron Rodgers. Like, what if JJ McCarthy goes out to minicamp and his knee flares back up and it's not right? Because don't I have a better chance to win in Minnesota than I would in Pittsburgh? Or what if, by chance, the San Francisco 49ers can't work a deal with Brock Purdy? And what if I can slide in there for a year with the talent that they have and the coaches that they have and play a year or two under Kyle Shanahan? Like there seems to be these what if possibilities. Like I'm afraid to commit to the Steelers just in case something better comes along. And that feels like the game of chicken that's being played to me. Like, because I don't think he's worried about what the Steelers are going to draft. Like, are they going to draft? What if they take Jackson Dart at the quarterback position? I don't think Aaron Rodgers is worried about, how am I going to compete with Jackson Dart? Like, I don't think he really gives a rip. But I almost just feel like maybe there's something better out there, and I better just wait until the very last moment.
Is it possible, you've been around the Steelers, you've got a chance to know Mike Tomlin, do you get any sense that the Steelers might have some reservation about Aaron Rodgers because some of the drama that's followed Aaron around, that maybe this just kind of goes against the Steelers' way, that they like Aaron Rodgers, but there's elements of Aaron that just doesn't fit with who and what the Steelers are?
Well, I think that the fact that they have flirted for this long and the fact that they are content on waiting, which seems to be they're going to wait through the draft, I would say, are there potential issues or are there things they don't like? Yeah. But is he better than any other option we have? Yeah. So I think when it comes down to it, with Pittsburgh production, if you think the production is going to outweigh the problem, then you put up with the problem. They did it for years in Pittsburgh, for years with what's his head, the wide receiver, Antonio Brown.
Right.
They put up because the production, it wasn't that he just went nutso all of a sudden. It was like going on for several years before they're just like, okay, we can't do it anymore, right? So I think if you look at Aaron, you look at the last half of the season, once he got healthy, he was actually pretty good. And the Jets are as dysfunctional as any organization that's ever been. So I think you would look at that if you're Pittsburgh and go, hey, man, whatever kind of issues that he does have or he does create, he based on the guy that we saw play the last 5 or 6 games of the season, he could cover some warts for us.
You mentioned the Vikings, and I know they came out the other day and said, hey, J.J. McCarthy's full go for the offseason. And I know they drafted him, but I'm speaking to here. I'm not a Viking fan, but I'm going to speak as a Viking fan. You just saw the team that they had last year and what they accomplished and how they established themselves as one of the really, really top teams in the entire NFL. And I just feel like while J.J. McCarthy might represent this future, the present means taking a step back. I mean, can you see them and this team turning to a rookie quarterback who didn't play at all last year and being able to maintain the status quo that they set up last year?
Well,
or is there just an inevitable regression that is just part of the deal when you have to make that inevitable turn to McCarthy?
Sure. And I think you have to look at it if you're Minnesota, you're going, okay, like 14 wins last year with Sam Darnold was a real outlier. Like that was everything lined up. And that's not, I mean, that wasn't realistic. That wasn't, even if Sam Darnold came back, who we negotiated with, like that wasn't sustainable. So will we have a regression? Yeah. Can we regret, especially in our division with Detroit and with Green Bay, as good as that division is.
Maybe Chicago coming up a little bit.
Chicago coming up. Yeah. But could we still win 10 games? Yeah. We think we're good enough to win 10, 11 games.
Do you think that?
Do I think that?
Do you think that? That's pretty lofty.
I think they're pretty damn good
with a rookie in that division.
I would be shocked if they were able to do that with JJ McCarthy.
Okay,
but I also think that Detroit they've lost both their coordinators. Will they come down? Reality wise, will they come down a little bit? Will Chicago take a step up? What will happen in Green Bay? Will Green Bay become the class of the division? I think that thing is all pretty clogged up at the top. So 9-8, 10-6, like the top team out of there may be 11-5 next year. So, and again, who knows? But there's been a lot of change in that division. So the J.J. McCarthy thing, but listen, there's no question that they have some trepidation, right? Because if you didn't have trepidation, they negotiated. Mm-hmm. They negotiated with Sam Darnold. They were talking to Aaron Rodgers, which would indicate that we're not sure what we have in J.J. McCarthy. We don't really know what J.J. McCarthy is. But now that we've decided to move down the road without Rodgers or without Sam Darnold, we're trusting that what we saw coming into the draft, we moved up one spot to get him. We're trusting our eyes. We're trusting the work he's put in on the grease board, and we're trusting our medical staff to say, we think he's going to be really, really good. Will we have a regression? Sure. But the whole division will, and we still think we can compete.
Okay. All right. So we've got the draft coming up on Thursday. We'll dive into that. All the last minute rumors.
Yeah.
Who might be looking to trade out, trade up. There's some interesting reports. Actually, a quick tease on this one, because your buddy, Adam Schefter, put out a report that he said that there's at least one team in the NFL that does not have a first round grade on any of these quarterbacks that are going in this draft. In fact, the feeling is that Cam Ward, who is going to be the first quarterback off the board, probably will go number 1 overall, probably to Tennessee, would have been the 7th quarterback in last year's draft. Would have been taken after all those quarterbacks. The last which one was Bo Nix. Is it really that bad of a class?
I just think I mean, I watched a bunch of Cam Ward film. As a matter of fact, on you can check this out. Just search Mark Schlereth on Top Fans. I've got a lot of videos coming out. I've broken down. I mean, I'm just looking at it right now. Connerly from Oregon, Campbell from LSU, Ursery from Minnesota, got Golden from Texas, the wide receiver, Genty from Boise State, Loveland, the tight end, Warren, the tight end, McMillan from Arizona, Simmons from Ohio State. I've got all kinds of videos. Then I'll have the Ward video, the Shadur Sanders videos coming out. Got all kinds of videos out there. If you want to check out whoever your team drafts after the draft, or if you want to prepare for the draft, all kinds of telestrated videos coming out on Top Fans that you can go out there and you can check those out as well. But yes, yeah, Mike, I mean, I'm telling you, I think this quarterback class, all of them have questions. And I think it's foregone conclusion. Ward will be the number 1 guy, but I've got some stuff that'll dispel rumors about, Shadur Sanders, he's not athletic enough. He doesn't step up the pocket. Like he wasn't protected. He takes shots. He'll stand in the pocket. He'll take one of the teeth and he'll deliver the football. Like, I don't know. Last time I checked, that's pretty important, right? Can read it, can read coverage and get through progressions. Last time I checked, that's pretty important. So, there's a lot left to be desired. And I would tell you that after about the top 15 guys, I'd question. I'll tell you one that I just did a breakdown yesterday. I spent a bunch of time watching it, film, and you'll like this. Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter is an unbelievable athlete, but he is a very raw player. And he's going to get eaten alive in his first year in the NFL.
First year in the NFL.
Year. Well, it's going to take him a while. He to me was a one-trick pony watching him on film. And there's no question.
I've seen Micah Parsons comparisons here for Abdul Carter. You're saying no?
I'm just saying it's going to take him a while to learn how to pass rush in the NFL. So it's not that I'm skeptical, because I think he's a very raw player, played a lot of inside linebacker early in his career, went to the edge, and he basically relies 100% on speed off the edge.
Okay.
And I would tell you, when I played, the one thing I would do as an offensive lineman is say, okay, what's the one thing you do exceptionally well? I will set to take that away 100% of the time. I will funnel you and invite you where I want you to go, and then I'll lock you there. And so you look at what he does, and I think he'll struggle his first year. I'd be surprised if he was just crazy. Like, he'll get some sacks just on effort alone, but I would be shocked if he's a big-time difference maker early in his career.
All right, just a little taste, a little preview of what we'll be doing a little bit later on this week. But again, just a reminder of what Mark just said. You can check out Mark Schlereth on OnlyFans.
No,
Do tell. Where can I find that?
It's on Top Fans, and the only difference.
Sorry.
Yeah, the only difference between that and I'm not going to show you my YooHoo. That thing's going to stay private.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Darn.
Yeah.
I think that's what you were clamoring for. We were all clamoring for it.
You wanted to see me naked. That's what you wanted to see. Gross. I don't even want to see me naked. Nobody should have to look at that. All right, for everybody involved, the Stinkin Truth Podcast, for Mike Evans, I am Mark Schlereth. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We'll be back with you on draft day. That is Thursday, bringing you everything you need to know. All right, Mike, I'll talk to you later, buddy.